had a they opened up the restaurant recently. They had an opening celebration where friends and family could go for free, but they wanted to have comment cards. We filled out the comment cards and we were honest about how some of the stuff kind of needed work, mostly in the service level, and the client was really angry because they didn't like the message that they were hearing. But the thing was is that the service, some of it was really lame ass, and they needed to be told that. So having, sometimes I think what the problem is, people get so close, they get that esprit de corps, which is French for spirit of the group, and they have that strong spirit, and then somebody from outside comes in and maybe says, yeah, the emperor's not wearing any clothes, and they like freak out and go, what, we planned it and all. So I mean, a lot of it is sometimes a media person can tell you something on why something isn't working. A nice one will tell you why they can't use something, and you can always, use that to kind of improve the pitch. But you can't really be afraid of the media because, most of them are just basically like you, only maybe different.
Makes sense. And also, I think to tag on top of that, I think it's important to have planning as an adverb, because a lot of these people they just plan and plan and plan and then just think about that day instead of implementing as they go.
Yeah.
To do it, because I'm starting out small. This is the way. I know a lot of times you say get that success in that little piece, and then I'm like, no, I want to implement this idea like right now, which works, but it's kind of challenging for the media attention, because with me sometimes you're like, well, what are you gonna do tomorrow with that? I'm like, I have no idea. This is what I'm doing today.
Well, I think a lot of it. I think regardless of if you're doing any kind of sales type of thing or whatever, what you need to do is you need to get rid of like the if you're doing anything that's involving getting your product out, you can't listen to the doubt, the voice. Fear, to me, fear and doubt are the devil. And like I have a client who's she's got this great concept. She's got a wonderful way of helping people. She's helped a lot of people, but at the same time, a lot of times a media offer will come to her, and I'll say, okay, I need you to answer these 3 questions here real quick. And she'll want to sit, and she'll want to reflect, and she'll want to say the right thing, because she's hearing, I can just tell, she's like hearing, it's not going to be perfect, it's not going to be perfect, wah, 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 I want the cracker, it's not going to be perfect. And it keeps her from actually doing anything, whereas if she just trusted her heart and just went with gut intuition rather than trying to be perfect in everything. I mean, you can always clean it up later, but a lot of times the first answer is the best answer. Did they ever teach you that in tests?
Yes.
Like if you don't know the first answer is the best answer, it's often people need to kind of trust their intuition, everything. It's like the thing about media is that people look at it as permanent, and really it's just as ephemeral as anything else. It's just as kind of going to disappear. Yes, you can get some good stuff, and you can get some great exposure, but you need at least 12 different media impressions to really make an impact on people. You need to have, so you need to kind of like view it as, yes, this is a good building block, but you can't look at it as the thing that's going to either make or break your career. You got to be willing to kind of take a chance, and also realize that it's much better to be memorable and look like a doofus, like some of the beauty pageant winner who said, some children don't even have maps. She's making in the bucks, whereas no one remembered the woman that actually won that contest.
Good call.
It's good to be.
I mean,
our country rewards failure like nobody else, and we need to respect that. Giving exposure to failures is one of the things that made America great.
Nice. One of the things I think it's important to be transparent out there. I've done a lot of videos showing my other side to people, and just throwing it out there. And there's a point that even I was uncomfortable doing that, because it's going.
What kills people more than anything?
What's that?
Lawyers. What kills publicity more than anything is lawyers. Lawyers always have this way of like trying to hedge the bets, and you get these canned ass corporate quotes saying we're excited about such and such, and this great opportunity. They make it sound like something that nobody else would say. Another thing that kind of kills things is trying to make sure that everybody gets credit. Like, you know, I did a press release for a. I did a press release for a product, and for, you know, one of those things that's kind of where they need sponsors. And the press release, in order to get the press release approved by the client, I had to basically put in all these quotes. We're really excited about our, you know, our tie-in with Chuckles Candy, or our tie-in with such and such. They insisted all that sponsor stuff goes in, and it was like, okay, fine. Got the press thing approved, sent it off to the media. What was the first thing I cut? All the canned ass quotes, all the canned ass corporate support, all the thing that didn't sound like a real human being was saying. And that's when I started getting calls. You know, if you are, don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to say what's on your mind. I mean, okay, maybe you don't need to say shit as much as I have during this video. Okay, I'll give you that. But I mean, it's better to sound like a real human being, nuts and bolts. You can always clean up the grammar a little bit. That's what, you know, computer programs are for. But it's better to sound like a real human being who's actually, like, lived a life, rather than sounding perfect, because you're not perfect, and nothing, like, makes you fall asleep more than a perfectly written, canned ass quote. Just like, you know, get your message across, but don't overthink it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Marty says is that ego causes problems so it can come up with solutions. And I also think that a lot of times with lawyers, they write these contracts so it can, and I don't think they do it on purpose.
You know,
so they
press
can,
release, it kills them.
yeah, press releases, and when they write contracts and press releases and everything, it puts them in another situation. If you're transparent and you let people know that out front, you let them know you're a human, there's less chance of this stuff happening.
Right. You know, like, you know, it's like if you try, it's always the guys who, you know, David Letterman is a perfect example. I mean, everyone knew that he's kind of sort of a, you know, normal, kind of creepy kind of guy, and, you know, he never made any secret that he was neurotic and that he has all this stuff. So when all this scandal came out about all this stuff, people go, well, that's just Dave. Whereas you get somebody that's trying to be, oh, you know, America's sweetheart or whatever, trying to protect their image. It's better to create an image that you can live with rather than, you know, trying to live up to some perfect ideal. I mean, you know, in fact, the best thing that can happen to you if you're going to try and make your mark on the world is disillusion people as quickly as possible. Get them disillusioned. Therefore, then you can get your message and what you're really trying to get across. Let them know that you've made mistakes, that you're not perfect, and then you can, you know, get it so they're not expecting you to be a role model, and then you can get your quote, you can get your message across.
And are there strategies for doing that without being pushy about the fact that you're doing it?
Well, I mean, it's, you know, it's all about the narrative. You know, if you've got a compelling story, if you're just kind of coming out and, if you're coming out and saying, hi, I'm an asshole, that's not necessarily going to work. But if you say how, you know, the process that made you be an asshole, maybe you're onto something, especially if you can show how you came through that hurricane of gratitude and now you're gratified you're an asshole.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it. Some good stuff. So, I was thinking one of the people that is real good at this, I'm using his name again, but Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I listened to his stuff. I've had a background in financial services. I listened to his stuff, and I don't think he's any different than anybody else as far as the stuff.
He's transparent about his fakery. He won't admit that he's wearing like a toupee, but he admits he has bad hair. Okay?
But one of the things for Donald Trump is everybody complains about that, but that's a part of his brand.
Well, see, exactly, and just like he is honest and open about that he's a snake, and that, you know, he'll basically be trying to sell your mom for a skateboard, but he does it with such charm and everything. You know, he'll you know, one time I interviewed him. It was for some charity thing that he was doing, where it was the publicist made it sound like. You know, he was going to be washing clothes for charity, and I asked him about that for a second. I ain't washing clothes. He didn't say ain't. He went to the Wharton School. They don't say ain't there. But, I mean, the colloquialness of that. But